George Soros was born in Budapest in 1930 in a world that was already becoming darker and more dangerous. His family was Jewish and lived in a time when the shadow of the Second World War was spreading across Europe. As a child he experienced fear and uncertainty, yet these early memories would later shape his understanding of power, freedom, and the fragile nature of open societies. During the German occupation of Hungary he and his family survived by living under false identities. This period of fear taught him two lessons that stayed with him for the rest of his long life. The first was that authoritarian systems are always built on lies and force. The second was that survival demands clear thinking and the ability to adapt. When the war ended, Soros continued his education and discovered an interest in philosophy and social thought. In 1947, with Europe still recovering from destruction, he left Hungary and moved to London. This decision transformed his life. In London he enrolled at the London School of Economics, where he met the philosopher Karl Popper. Popper believed that societies should be open, flexible, and willing to question themselves. His ideas would become the foundation of Soros' understanding of the world. Soros read Popper deeply and found in his work a framework for how societies grow, decline, and renew themselves. He carried these ideas with him into every part of his future work in finance, philanthropy, and political debate. Life in London was not easy for the young immigrant. He worked various small jobs, including waiter and railway porter, to pay for his studies. But he remained determined and eventually completed his degrees in philosophy. Despite his fascination with ideas, he realized that academic philosophy was not likely to give him the practical opportunities he needed. So he turned to the world of finance. Through hard work and persistence he found a job at a merchant bank in London and began to learn the structure of international markets. By the mid-1950s, Soros moved to the United States and entered the American financial world in New York City. He worked for several investment firms where he built a reputation for sharp analysis and creative strategies. Soros was not the typical investor. He applied his philosophical understanding to market behavior. He believed that markets are not perfect machines driven by pure logic. Instead, he argued that they are shaped by human emotions, hopes, fears, and misunderstandings. He called this concept reflexivity. It suggested that participants in the market influence economic realities at the same time that they react to them. This approach would later define many of his most famous trades. In 1973 he created Soros Fund Management, which eventually became the Quantum Fund. With this fund he achieved some of the most remarkable investment results in history. The fund was known for bold decisions and global strategies. One of Soros' most famous moments came in 1992 during a crisis in the European exchange rate mechanism. Soros believed that the British pound was overvalued and that the United Kingdom would be forced to devalue it. He placed a huge short position against the pound, and when the currency finally collapsed he earned a profit estimated at around $1 billion in a single day. This event made him widely known and earned him both admiration and criticism. From that point on, people often described him as a financial genius but also as a figure of controversy. By the 1980s Soros had become extremely wealthy. But he was not interested only in the pursuit of money. He wanted to use his wealth to support the principles he believed in since his youth. These were the principles of open society, transparency, human rights, and access to education. In 1979 he began his philanthropic work by supporting scholarships for South African students under apartheid. In 1984 he created the first foundation that would eventually grow into the international network known as the Open Society Foundations. His early work focused on Eastern Europe, where state control and authoritarian systems limited personal freedom. Soros provided funding for independent newspapers, libraries, universities, and civil society groups. He helped support democratic transitions in Hungary, Poland, Czechoslovakia, and many other countries. After the fall of the Soviet Union, his foundation activities expanded dramatically. He offered assistance to newly independent countries that were struggling to build democratic institutions. He supported legal reforms, economic transparency, educational opportunities, drug policy reform, and programs for marginalized communities. Over the decades, Soros donated tens of billions of dollars of his own money to these foundations. By doing so, he became one of the most significant philanthropists in the world. Throughout his career, Soros has written several books. In them he explains his ideas about markets, society, and democracy. His writing often reflects his belief that human understanding is always imperfect and that this imperfection creates both risks and opportunities. He warns that authoritarian movements gain power when societies become afraid of uncertainty. He argues that open societies must remain vigilant or they will fall into the hands of those who promise simple solutions. Soros' personal life included marriages, children, and long periods of work that consumed much of his energy. Friends and colleagues often described him as someone who works intensely yet remains deeply reflective. He was known for being both analytical and emotional. He could pursue market strategies with strict logic while at the same time speaking with passion about justice and human dignity. His public image has always been divided. Supporters view him as a defender of democratic values. Critics accuse him of using his wealth to influence politics. Conspiracy theories have often targeted him, especially because he is outspoken on political issues and because he funds causes involving human rights and minority communities. Many of these accusations are not based on evidence but reflect the polarized nature of modern political life. Soros himself has said that his critics misunderstand his motives. He believes that open societies depend on debate, free expression, and the ability to challenge authority. In the 21st century, Soros gradually stepped back from active investing. In 2011, his hedge fund became a family office, meaning it no longer accepted outside investors. This allowed him to focus more on philanthropy and writing. The Open Society Foundations continued to expand their work across more than 100 countries, supporting education, public health, independent media, legal assistance for the poor, and programs designed to strengthen democratic participation. As he entered his later years, Soros' influence remained visible in global discussions about democracy, economic inequality, migration, civil liberties, and the dangers of authoritarianism. His life shows an unusual combination of philosophical thinking, financial skill, and social activism. Few people have shaped as many arenas as he has. From growing up in a dangerous era to becoming one of the world's most debated figures, he has remained committed to the idea that societies must stay open to criticism, ideas, and change. Today, George Soros stands as a symbol of both inspiration and controversy. His supporters admire his commitment to freedom and human rights. His critics question the role of wealthy individuals in shaping public life. Regardless of opinion, his life story continues to provoke discussion about the relationship between money, power, politics, and moral responsibility. His journey from a child surviving war in Budapest to a global figure in finance and philanthropy is one of the most remarkable stories of the modern era.